how to have the right mindset for living abroad. Today in this video, I'm going to chat with Stephanie Bauer, a friend that I met in Amsterdam a few years ago. And she's an expert as well, because she has been living abroad for 25 years already in several countries, several different continents. And she's going to share with us what was the right mindset she implemented over these last years, and what did work for her and what didn't work for her. Because it's before even we move abroad or we consider moving abroad, living abroad, everything starts with our mindset. How do we approach this experience? So I hope this video is practical and useful as well, with many tips and a new perspective that you can implement and you can have in your life.
So hello, my lovely Stephanie. So today we have a Stephanie as a guest.
Hi.
Hello.
Good
So,
morning, Susanna. Oh, good afternoon.
Yeah, it's good morning for you. It's good
Yeah.
afternoon for me. So
Yeah.
tell us, Stephanie, introduce yourself for the lovely people who are watching us today.
Yes. So my name is Stephanie Bauer, and I'm French. I'm from Normandy. I think everyone knows Normandy. Yes, I'm living in the Netherlands. I've been here for 7 years now. Time flies. And I left France 25 years ago, more or less.
Like me, 25.
Yeah. So wow, it's amazing. And I lived in 4 different countries, including France, because it was part of my traveling phase, because I lived in a city which was not my city. So I feel like it's part of the expat experience.
Yes.
So here I am with you today.
Yeah, good. So you said that the first time that you moved, you were, how old were you? Sorry.
It was in my, well, if you do the calculation, it's more than 25. It was in my early 20s. And so, yes, I left France after I graduated, and I wanted to perform my English. So I moved to the UK. Yes. So I moved to the UK. My husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, was there already. He's French, and he was studying there. And I didn't move for him, I promise. I moved for my English. I ended up living with him.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to justify yourself. I moved because of my husband. So it's okay. It's okay. We can confess a lot of things here.
Yeah. So, but so I moved to the UK. Moved to near London, Kingston upon Thames. So
and how was your first move abroad? How was, in the sense of how did you feel the first time you moved?
Well, I was young. So I think when you're young, it's less scary somehow, and I had left home a year before that, because I moved to Paris for my last year in college. So I was ready to just explore the world.
Yes.
You don't think as much as when you're older. I think it's just like you live the life. So it was a bit scary, of course, but no, it was fine. I had to the time to look for a job. I realized when I arrived in the UK that even though I studied English for like more than 10 years, I didn't know how to speak English properly. Yeah. It was really hard, being in the country, learning at school, a big gap. So, it was a challenge for me. And before I find a proper job, I wanted to experience, and improve my English. So I did little jobs. It was fun experience. Yeah.
So you never felt like alone or isolated when you moved first, because you said your husband was already there. Well, your boyfriend.
Yeah. No, not so much, because at the time we shared. a house, with other people, other foreigners. So it was we built a group
Community.
of friends. Yeah, a community. So was different nationalities, Greek, German, some English people were there. So, and I never felt the urge to join a French community because I left France, and for me it was like, this is behind me for now. I need to connect with either English people or English speaking people.
Yeah.
So just get away from French people.
Yeah.
So
From your
it was,
locals, because you know exactly.
yeah.
French people. People in France. You didn't need
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
a French connection
Yeah.
there in the UK.
Yeah.
So having
So
this,
for me, it was fun.
so having this community of expats living in London was really helpful for you to feel more like
Yes.
everybody was related. Everybody
Yes.
relate to what the other were feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, completely. We share the same experience, the same struggles,
Yes.
and exploring the new life together. So helping each other, supporting each other. So being in a house as a graduated, with other people who were more or less the same age, was very helpful and reassuring. Yes.
Yeah. And after UK, you kept moving. You went.
Yes. So we lived for 10 years in the UK. I had my daughter in the UK. Yeah, 10 years. So I found a job eventually. So I worked for 10 years. It was a great opportunity for me, finding a job abroad compared to France at the time. So it was a great move for me. And then, after 10 years, we decided that I had enough with the UK. To be honest, I wanted something else. And my daughter was born, so the life became different somehow. So my husband said, yeah, we have the opportunity to move to the States, but we have to wait another year. And I said, I cannot wait another year. So then in between, he had the opportunity to move to France, to Lyon, the south of France. I don't know if you know the city. I'm from Normandy. I'm from Normandy originally. So moving to Lyon was, a new experience. Like I moved to a new country, to be honest. And I have to say, after 10 years abroad, going back to your country is like a new country.
Yes.
You are a new person.
We were talking about
see,
that yesterday in a webinar that I hold, and people were saying is another whole experience when you're
completely. Yeah.
So
you have changed.
Yeah.
It was hard.
It was hard.
I have to admit, it was difficult because I didn't know the city. I had a baby. When I left France, I was a student, a young graduated. And when I came back, I had a family. So I didn't know anyone. So it was a challenge. So the first 2 years were like really hard. I found a job, of course. I worked there. But it was unknown somehow. The language was, of course, not an issue. But every little thing, like, going to the bank and, it was just new for me. I left, I was like a student, so I felt a bit silly sometimes. And also the hard thing, yes?
No, say, sorry.
No, the hard thing for me was to, at first, to compare what I knew with France, in England, we used to, blah, blah. So at the beginning, even my husband, we tended to compare. And then one day someone told me, wow, if life was so great over there, just go back. And I was like, and then I realized, okay, maybe I just need to like keep it low.
One of the things is that when we talk about, especially working as a life coach, or more specific as an expat coach, is that everyone, right? We tend to compare, but this is something that we do as a human being. We compare ourselves to others. We compare cities to other cities, or experience to another experience, and certainly, comparison is a trait that doesn't help anyone, and it's not useful at all because it doesn't bring you anything new. right? You need just
No,
to embrace the things as they are.
completely,
Yeah.
completely.
But it's
Yes,
good that
and that's so
you
true.
realize that, right? You realize that. You learn from experience.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I've been abroad. I had been abroad for 10 years, and I experienced new things, new life, new culture, new way of living, and different way of living. And of course, the French there, they've only lived in France, so
Yeah,
it was completely normal.
yeah.
I didn't reject that. I said, okay, you're right. So just keep it to myself and just live the live the life here in France and enjoy.
So, and after these 2 years of having this shocked cultural, reverse cultural shock, I believe it's called, that
Yes, yes.
you decided with your husband to keep moving again out of.
Well, no, we stayed there for about 4 years. I had my son in between,
Yes.
so he was born in France, and then yeah, after a couple of years in France, we felt really the need um, to go abroad again. I mean, it was when we left so young and we lived for 10 years abroad, and France is great, but at the end of the day, it's really the discovering a new culture, talking another language,
Mm.
speak English. I missed
Yeah.
the language, so I was like to my
Excitement.
husband, the excitement. I said, next opportunity, just take it. And the opportunity to move to the States happened, all right? So we moved. My son was 1 year old, and I remember I just quote what you said earlier. You have to embrace, because when I was about to move, one colleague told me, "Okay, you move to the States. One piece of advice: just embrace the experience, embrace the life, embrace people there, because the States are very different, a
Yes.
different culture from
Yeah.
Europe." So, and I did. So we moved to the States, to New Jersey, near New York, and I knew the language, so it wasn't a
Yeah.
problem for
Yeah.
me.
Mm.
We were expats, but our children went to public school.
Mhm.
So we really got the feeling of the local life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not expect life as such. And again, I didn't join a French community. Just it was like no.
I
So
have
really,
friends. Yeah.
I embraced the American culture, and I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was just awesome. I really liked it because, like you said, you just take the good things. You
You went with the right
when you have
mindset.
children as well, it helps.
You went with the right mindset when you moved there.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. And
Yes, completely. Yes, completely. And it was exciting.
and what about your children? Were your children very young? You said when you moved there. Were they
Yeah. So
how, because I have two boys, but my experience is slightly different. As this is very interesting for me, because you're saying that your first experience abroad, because you were young, it was very easy. For me, I was young, but maybe not in my early 20s, but late 20s. And I just married and I moved because of my husband. For me, it was the toughest, the most difficult, maybe because it was to Japan, which is really shocking. It's
yeah,
like 180.
from Spain to Japan, yes.
Yeah. But it is interesting because for me, the second move was easier, not the first one, right? But for you, it was just the second one. Well, it was because of France. But the first one was easier, which for me is very interesting to hear. It's not that
Yeah,
common. But then our
yeah.
kids are brought up as a third culture kids, because they've been abroad all their lives and never really go back to neither of any country, neither Spain or neither Japan. Always different. So they always felt like, from anywhere, from nowhere, or from everywhere. It's always very, like this movie. And what's the movie that won so many Oscars? everything, everywhere, all
Oh
at
yes, yes, same time. Yeah.
it was. But it was like,
Yes.
oh, okay, I'm from everywhere, from nowhere, but I don't know where I'm from. What about your kids? How do they embrace
Mm,
that feeling of being French,
mm,
but being in the States? How do
mm.
they
Well,
find themselves?
yeah. For when we moved to the States, my daughter was 6 and my son was hardly 2. So my daughter went to French school for 3 years. So she was fluent in French. My son didn't speak at the time. So we stayed in the States for 5 years. And then we realized, oh, they are becoming more American than French.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And because they were not exposed to that expat culture, they
Yeah.
were going to a local school.
Okay.
So the deep inside, the American vibe was growing.
Yeah.
And so it was not a problem for us. I mean, it was important. We really enjoyed the fact that they were learning English, and we put French aside. That we were talking French at home, but we really didn't put pressure on them to learn French in a school environment. So just embrace the whole experience together. And so my son was really American, that's for sure. Yeah. So, and then we moved to the Netherlands. So we left that American culture and got closer to the European culture.
Is when we met. Yeah, this is a confession to everyone. Is when we met in Amsterdam.
Yes. Yeah. In Amsterdam. So today, I'd say my children, they feel more European, that's for sure. They don't have a belonging feeling to any country. Somehow, yeah, they know they're French, but at first, when we arrived in the Netherlands, they truly were American. I remember my son mostly wanted to join the American. Anything that was happening in the Global Village Day, it was the American dance. So it was strongly American inside. But today, it's more like every nationality. It's third.
It's the same with my kids. They can. Sometimes they found it a bit difficult to, not for themselves. Now they know who they are, and so they're older than your kids, right? Because they're young adults. But especially Shaw, who is 23, he said, yeah. But for you, it's very easy because it's very common. People ask you, "What's your name?" You can say specific, "What's your name?" And the second question immediately that comes after, it's, "Where are you from?"
Yes.
And he said, "Mom, for you, it's very simple. You can just say one city, that's it. You don't know." But for him, it's like, here it comes.
There should be like a specific city for that.
Yes. And I told him that, "See, it's just an international." He said, "No, I cannot say that." People would say, like, "What?"
No. What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yes.
So for him, it was a struggle. And now it's like for so long, because I believe the longest place that they lived was in the Netherlands. Maybe like now for your kids, might be the Netherlands as well.
Yes.
He moved to UK to study at the university. People were asking that, and then he said, I'm Dutch." He said, "From Amsterdam." Well, he didn't say I'm Dutch. He said, "Well, you're from Amsterdam." And people, "You're Dutch." And then he went, "No."
No. Oh well, all right.
Yeah, but it is an interesting again, culture for the kids to live that process, and it's completely another whole experience. Another whole.
And I realized that more today when my daughter, she's going to graduate in June. And so now it's time for her to, go somewhere. And it's like, it's not just I go to the next city like I used to when I was a young student, but it's which country.
Yeah, which country?
Which, and something she told me that was quite interesting. She was really happy. I suggested a school in France, and I thought, France, never. She will never go there. And then we were talking, and she said, "Well, Mom, I'm afraid I will lose my French." And I'm
Oh,
like, "Why? No, you won't. It's in you." Yeah, but wherever I go, I'll speak mostly English, and because I won't be with you anymore, I may not remember, how to speak French. So that's why she was happy to go to France, and
oh,
that
so
she
she's
was
going to
willing to
France.
go to France. So she's not, because she's doing a gap year,
Oh, well,
but then we were talking about it, and funny enough, I said to her, "It's funny, I don't see you as a person and your personality living in France and studying in France." So I suggested maybe she should go to Canada,
mm,
Quebec,
yeah,
Montreal, which is
yeah.
more, it fits more her personality, and then, it's close to the American culture, European culture. So that would fit her best. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
sorry, because we are running out of time, but just to wrap up.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, it's fantastic. I love it. I love this. We can do these videos more often, more often.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about because for me, it's just the question that you say, which is very, very important, is like when you move abroad to find the right community that you can relate to. You didn't want to have your local friends, like in your case was French, people in the
Mm-hmm.
UK, because you said, no, I have
Mm-hmm.
French in France. So in the UK, you find all the cultures, all the people, all the cities from around the world in England. So then you can
Mm-hmm.
to each other and you had your community that supported you, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
very important. This is one of the, let's say, highlights of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one that I like very much is that it was your mindset. When you moved to France, you didn't have the right mindset because you thought you knew, and you were very surprised to realize that, oh no, this change not as smooth as I thought. And the good one, when you moved to the States, you had the right mindset because you were told embrace the experience, and you went with all your heart going there.
Yeah.
So was it the same for when you moved to the Netherlands? Was it the same or no? It was not.
And funny enough, it's the hardest. It was the hardest for me because I was really, my life was great in the States, I have to say. We had a group of friends, and the children were happy. It was a different world, to be honest. And I really enjoyed the culture. Don't take me wrong, there are things in the States I don't appreciate, I don't valid, but overall it was a great life, and for my kids too. But now I can see it's good that we moved. So many wrong things over there. But no, I was not ready. And to be honest, I went through a difficult personal time. I had, surgery and everything for me. So we moved in January. So I wasn't ready to move to Europe. And the Netherlands, for me, I saw like, I lived in the UK for 10 years. Weather is going to be similar. It was like more, I don't want to go there. It was a different approach. And so when we moved, my kids went to the international school of Amsterdam. And so we joined this expat community, and of course the language. So I think because of the language and this expat bubble, then I didn't really integrate well with the locals, the local community. And for me, it was a shock because before my previous experience, I was among the locals. And here was a different, and it's not like, okay, if you move to Asia, yeah, you will be experiencing the same, but it's very different cultures. Netherlands, it's close to France, it's Europe, so I felt like, okay, I felt like somehow I was back to my country. Of course not, but so where was the difference? So yes, I could have said embrace the whole experience, but for different reasons, it was hard for me. It was really hard. So
how did you manage to overcome that feeling of?
Well, then I said to me, I remember one day I said, okay, just stop being miserable. It won't bring anything to you. You might be here for 15 years or so. Yeah, a long time. So just you have to be positive. and enjoy the environment. So basically, I joined the PTA at my kids' school.
Yeah.
And then I met so many people, and I joined the PTA activities as well. We had walks in the city in Amsterdam. I met a group of friends, my friends today that are still my friends, and so that's how I built my friendship, through the PTA, through the school. And everything was, around the school. My world was around the school, so it helped me go through, and it was great. I have to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So you didn't consider to, for instance, work with an expat coach or?
Well, funny enough, I had friends that I met at the time who were training to be a coach.
Yeah.
Not so much expat coach, because I didn't know any, but life coach.
Life coach.
And so I was working with them, so for their training.
Yes.
And it did help me, and I have to say it does help, having someone to guide you, to see things in a different perspective, and it's a great support. You have to, and then you get to meet other people, so slowly you build up a community. Yeah. I think it's valuable to have someone who can support you this way. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for all the highlights that you told us. Embrace,
you're welcome.
Mindset, and especially, yes, knowing that you have to be open to the change.
Yes,
and
completely.
Culture. Yes.
Yes,
thank you so much
definitely.
for this chat. I loved it, this chat. We should do this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, definitely.
The next time
Yes.
about the kids, we could talk about the kids.
Yes.
And the third culture.
Yes, definitely. It's very interesting. Yeah, no, there's a lot to say. Yeah, I'd be happy to join you again. Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you so much. And I will see you probably very soon. Have a lovely and fantastic weekend ahead.
So, how did you like the video? Did you find it useful? Did you find that you can see how you can implement some of these ideas and having this mindset ready for you to feel more at ease and confident living abroad? Remember, if you cannot cope with the change, you don't feel confident enough, you don't know how to find your purpose while living abroad, you feel stuck, you don't know how to move forward, call me. I am an Expat Life Coach, and I can help you. I can come up with a plan for you. Remember to give us the thumbs up to this video and subscribe to my channel in the button, clicking the button down below, and I'll see you in my next video.